I stand outside the gym, watching her through the glass. My wife laughing, her hand resting on his arm. The personal trainer, her personal trainer. The way she touches him, the way she leans in close. It's like a knife twisting in my gut. I feel sick, but I can't look away. I'm not the man I used to be. Middle-aged, yes, but still in good shape. Successful in my career, though that doesn't seem to matter anymore. Lately, everything feels like it's slipping through my fingers. My marriage, once full of passion, has become a hollow shell. We barely talk, and when we do, it's cold, distant. I've noticed changes in her. Little things, new lingerie, late nights at the gym, that faraway look in her eyes. I told myself it was nothing, just a phase. But deep down I knew. I knew, and still I came here tonight. Like some pathetic loser, I had to see it for myself. I thought maybe if I saw it, I could understand. Maybe it would make sense, but it doesn't. Nothing about this makes sense. She's my wife, damn it. My wife. The night air is cool against my skin, but my blood is boiling. I want to storm in there, drag her out, demand answers. But I know that won't do any good. I need to think. I need to be smart about this. Suddenly, my phone buzzes in my pocket. I pull it out and see a text from an unknown number. My heart pounds as I open it. The message contains a series of photos, my wife and her trainer in his apartment. They're not just having an affair. The photos leave no room for doubt. The images are explicit, raw. I feel like I'm going to vomit. My hands shake as I scroll through the photos. How could she do this to me? After everything we've been through, after all these years. I thought we were just going through a rough patch. I thought we could fix it. But this? There's no fixing this. The world feels like it's spinning out of control. I try to steady myself, but the betrayal cuts too deep. My mind races, 1,000 thoughts, 1,000 questions. But one thing is clear. I can't just sit back and let this happen. I need to do something. I need to confront her. Confront him. But as I start the car ready to drive to his place, another thought crosses my mind. This isn't just about an affair. There's something more, something darker lurking beneath the surface. And I'm going to find out what it is, no matter what it takes. Everything was ordinary, or so I thought. But this text, these photos, they've shattered my world. And now there's no going back. I grip the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turn white. The streetlights blur as I speed through the city, my mind racing faster than the car. The photos replay in my head, each one burning into my memory. I can't believe it. My wife, my Lisa, tangled up with that bastard. And it's not just an affair. Those images, they were too much, too raw. There's something more going on here, something dark and twisted. I pull up to the trainer's house, a small, nondescript place on a quiet street. My heart pounds in my chest as I slam the car door shut and march up the driveway. The rage inside me is a living thing, clawing at my insides, desperate to get out. I'm going to confront him, demand answers. I need to know what the hell is going on. I pound on the door with my fist, the sound echoing in the still night. My breath comes in short, angry bursts. I can hear movement inside, shuffling footsteps, and then the door cracks open. The trainer's face appears, pale and wide-eyed. He tries to close the door as soon as he sees me, but I'm faster. I shove my foot in the gap and push hard, forcing the door open. "You can't hide from me," I shout, my voice raw with fury. He stumbles back, his hands up as if to ward me off. Just wait a second," he starts, but I'm not listening. I step inside, my eyes scanning the dimly lit living room. It's a mess, clothes strewn everywhere, the smell of sweat and something else lingering in the air. My stomach churns with disgust. "Where is she?" I demand, advancing on him. He backs away, fear etched on his face. "She's not here, man. She's not." I don't let him finish. I grab him by the collar and shove him against the wall. "What the hell is going on? What are you doing with my wife?" His eyes dart to the side, and that's when I see it. A flash of something in the corner of the room, something that makes my blood run cold. I turn my head, and there she is. A woman, bound and gagged, lying on the floor. Her clothes are torn, her face bruised. I freeze, my mind struggling to process what I'm seeing. What the hell? The words come out in a whisper. My grip on the trainer loosens, and he takes the opportunity to break free, but I barely notice. I'm staring at the woman, my mind racing. This isn't Lisa. Who the hell is she? And why is she here like this? I hear the trainer muttering something about how it's not what it looks like, but I don't care. All I see is red. Without thinking, I swing my fist, connecting with his jaw. He goes down hard, crumpling to the floor in a heap. I stand over him, my chest heaving, my mind a blur of rage and confusion. I need to call the police. This is beyond anything I imagined. I pull out my phone, my hands shaking as I dial 911. My mind is racing, but I force myself to focus, to give the operator the details they need. I barely register their questions, my eyes fixed on the woman on the floor. The police arrive quickly. It's a blur of flashing lights, uniformed officers, and rapid-fire questions. I stand to the side, watching as they secure the scene, cuffing the trainer and checking on the woman. She's alive, thank God, but barely. I can't stop thinking about Lisa. Is she involved in this? What the hell has she gotten herself into? One of the officers approaches me, his face a mix of concern and suspicion. You called this in? He asks, and I nod, my throat too dry to speak. He glances at the trainer, who's sitting on the floor, handcuffed and dazed. What happened here? I take a deep breath, trying to calm the storm inside me. I came here to confront him. He's been sleeping with my wife, but then I saw her. I gestured to the woman being tended to by the paramedics. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. The officer studies me for a moment, then nods. We're going to need a full statement from you down at the station. Of course, I mutter, my mind still spinning. The reality of what I've walked into is starting to sink in. This isn't just about an affair. It's something much darker, something I'm not sure I'm ready to face. At the station, the hours crawl by as I give my statement, recounting everything from the moment I received the text to when I knocked the trainer out. The police don't seem to know what to make of it all, but they're thorough, asking questions that make me wonder just how deep this goes. Finally, they let me go, telling me they'll be in touch. I leave the station in a daze, the weight of everything pressing down on me. I get in my car, but I don't start it right away. I just sit there, staring at the steering wheel, trying to make sense of the last few hours. What have I gotten myself into? I wanted answers, but now I'm more confused than ever. And Lisa, where is she? What does she know about this? The questions swirl in my head, each one more terrifying than the last. I thought I knew her, thought I could trust her. But now I'm not sure of anything. I drive home on autopilot, my mind replaying everything that's happened. When I walk through the door, the house is dark and empty, just like I feel inside. I sit down on the couch, my head in my hands. I don't know what to do next. I don't even know where to start. Hours pass as I sit there, lost in thought. My phone buzzes again, snapping me out of my trance. It's another message from the unknown number. My heart skips a beat as I open it, half expecting more damning photos. But it's not what I expected at all. The message is a video. I press play, my stomach twisting with dread. The screen shows a dimly lit room, and then I see her, Lisa. She's sitting on a bed, her expression unreadable. The camera angle is strange, like she doesn't know she's being filmed. She says something, but I can't hear it. There's no sound. The video ends abruptly, leaving me staring at the blank screen, my heart pounding in my chest. I watch the video again, trying to decipher any clues. Why would someone send this to me? What does it mean? I'm more confused than ever, but one thing is clear. I need to find Lisa. I need to know what's going on, and I need to hear it from her. I grab my keys and head back out the door, determination replacing the fear that's been gnawing at me. Whatever's happening, whatever she's involved in, I'm going to get to the bottom of it. I have to. There's no turning back now. I drive through the night, the city lights blurring into streaks as I race to find Lisa. My mind is a tangled mess of fear, anger, and confusion. The video on my phone is burned into my brain. Lisa, sitting on that bed, looking so lost. I need to find her, to get answers. I need to know what she's involved in and why. The more I think about it, the more I realize I don't know my wife at all. I head to the place I'm sure she'll be, the apartment she sometimes stays at when she says she needs space. It's not far, just across town, but the drive feels endless. My thoughts keep circling back to the trainer, to the woman tied up in his living room. How could Lisa be part of something so horrific? But then again, who is she really? What secrets has she been hiding all this time? When I reach the apartment building, I don't hesitate. I take the stairs two at a time, my heart pounding in my chest. I reach her door and knock, trying to keep my emotions in check. I can't let her see how desperate I am. I need to stay in control, to get her to talk. The door opens slowly, and there she is, Lisa, looking pale and worn out, her eyes red-rimmed like she's been crying. The sight of her softens something inside me, but I push it down. I can't afford to let my guard down now. "Can I come in?" I ask, trying to keep my voice steady. She hesitates, then steps aside, letting me into the small, sparsely furnished apartment. The air between us is thick with tension, the unspoken questions hanging like a weight around our necks. I move to the center of the room, turning to face her. She stands by the door, arms crossed, her gaze fixed on the floor. "What's going on, Lisa?" I start, my voice low. "I need to know. I deserve to know." She flinches at my words, then looks up, her eyes filled with something I can't quite read. Fear, maybe, or regret. "It's not what you think," she says softly, almost pleading. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen." "Didn't mean for what to happen?" I snap, my frustration boiling over. "The affair? The woman I found tied up in your lover's apartment?" "What the hell, Lisa?" She winces again, then takes a deep breath, as if steeling herself for what's to come. "It started as just an affair," she admits, her voice trembling. "I was unhappy, and he was there, giving me attention, making me feel alive again. But it spiraled out of control. He he got involved in something dark, something dangerous, and I didn't know how to get out." Her words hit me like a punch to the gut. I feel sick, the anger swirling with a deep sense of betrayal. "You should have come to me," I say, my voice shaking with emotion. "We could have figured something out, but instead, you got involved with a criminal?" Tears well up in her eyes and she shakes her head. "I was scared, okay? Scared of what he might do if I tried to leave. Scared of what you'd think of me. It all got so out of hand, and I didn't know what to do." I let her words sink in, the reality of the situation weighing heavy on my chest. This isn't just about an affair. It's about survival, about fear. But that doesn't make it any easier to swallow. "You need to tell me everything," I say finally, my voice firm. "No more lies, no more half-truths. If we're going to get through this, I need to know exactly what we're dealing with." She nods, wiping her eyes as she moves to sit on the edge of the bed. I join her, sitting close but not touching, waiting for her to start. And then slowly she begins to unravel the twisted web she's found herself caught in. She tells me about how the trainer, his name is Mark, started asking her to do things. Little favors that seemed harmless at first. Delivering packages, picking up strange items, meeting people she didn't know. But as time went on, the requests became more sinister. She realized too late that she was being used as a pawn in something much bigger, something criminal. "He has something on me," she whispers, her voice barely audible. "Something he's holding over my head to keep me in line. I'm trapped, and I didn't know how to get out without making things worse." I feel a cold dread settle in my stomach. "What does he have on you, Lisa?" She looks away, her face crumpling with shame. "Photos, videos, things he made me do. I didn't have a choice, but it doesn't matter. He said he'd ruin me, ruin us, if I didn't cooperate." My mind races, trying to process everything she's telling me. The pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together. but the picture they're forming is terrifying. We need to go to the police, I say, but she shakes her head vehemently. No, we can't, she insists. You don't understand. He's connected, powerful. If we go to the police, he'll know, and he'll come after us. He'll destroy us. I sit there, the weight of her words crushing me. I thought the affair was the worst of it, but this is so much more than I ever imagined, and now we're both trapped in it together. The next few days are a blur of fear and uncertainty. The police are all over the case, investigating the scene at Mark's apartment. They keep asking me questions, probing for details I don't have answers to. And all the while, Lisa and I are trying to figure out our next move, trying to stay one step ahead of Mark. But it's not long before the police start to turn their attention to me. They're suspicious. Why was I at Mark's place? What connection do I have to the woman they found there? It doesn't help that Mark, now in custody, is spinning a story that paints me as the jealous husband who attacked him out of revenge. The lies pile up, and I can feel the noose tightening around my neck. Lisa tries to reassure me, telling me to stay calm, to stick to our story, but I can see the fear in her eyes, the guilt eating away at her. She's terrified that her secrets are going to come out, that everything she's done is going to be exposed. And as the days go by, I start to wonder if maybe she's right. Maybe we're in too deep and there's no way out. One night after another exhausting day of questioning, I come home to find Lisa sitting on the couch, staring blankly at the wall. She's been like this a lot lately, lost in her own thoughts, disconnected from everything around her. I sit down beside her, and for a long moment, we just sit in silence. We can't keep doing this, I say finally, breaking the silence. We need to figure out a way to end this, before it destroys us both. She nods, but there's a hopelessness in her eyes that scares me. I don't know how, she whispers. I don't know if we can, but I'm not ready to give up. I've come this far, and I'm not going to let Mark win. I'm going to find a way to protect us, to expose him for the monster he is. I just need to figure out how. And then, as if on cue, my phone buzzes. It's another message from that unknown number, the one that sent the photos, the video. My heart sinks as I open it, dreading what I might find. But this time it's not a threat, it's a lead. The message contains an address and a single line of text. You're not the only one who wants him gone. It's cryptic, but it's enough to spark a glimmer of hope. Maybe we have an ally in this mess, someone who can help us take Mark down. I show Lisa the message, and for the first time in days, I see a flicker of something in her eyes. Hope, or maybe just determination. We have to go, I say, already grabbing my keys. This might be our only chance. She doesn't argue. We both know that time is running out, and if we're going to survive this, we need to act fast. As we head out the door, I can feel the tension in the air, the weight of everything we've been through pressing down on us. But there's also a sense of purpose, a feeling that maybe, just maybe, we're finally on the right track. We drive through the night, the city lights flashing by in a blur, heading toward whatever fate awaits us at that address. And as we go, I can't shake the feeling that everything is about to come to a head, that this is the beginning of the end, one way or another. The address from the text leads us to a rundown warehouse on the outskirts of the city. The place is dark, barely illuminated by the weak glow of a distant streetlight. I park the car a block away, the engine ticking as it cools down. My heart pounds in my chest, and I can feel Lisa's tension beside me, a palpable, electric charge in the air. We're walking into something dangerous, but we have no choice. This is our only chance to end this nightmare. We step out of the car, the cold night air biting at my skin. The warehouse looms ahead, a hulking shadow against the night sky. Every instinct tells me to turn back, to run far away from this place, but I can't. Not now, not with everything that's at stake. Lisa squeezes my hand, and I glance at her. Her face is pale, her eyes wide with fear, but there's a steely determination there too. She's ready to face whatever comes next, and so am I. We approach the warehouse cautiously, every step feeling heavier than the last. The door is ajar, creaking slightly in the wind. I push it open, the sound echoing through the cavernous space inside. The interior is just as grim as the exterior, dark, cluttered with old machinery and piles of debris. I can barely make out the shapes of anything in the dim light, but I can feel eyes on us, the weight of someone's gaze hidden in the shadows. "Hello?" I call out, my voice steady despite the fear gnawing at my insides. "We're here. You wanted to talk. So talk." There's a long, tense silence. Then from the darkness, a figure emerges. He's tall, broad-shouldered, with a rough, weathered face that looks like it's seen more than its fair share of violence. His eyes are cold, calculating, as they flick between me and Lisa. "You're late," he says, his voice a low growl. "Who are you?" I demand, trying to keep the tremor out of my voice. "What do you want from us?" The man smirks, but it's a humorless expression. "Names aren't important. What's important is that we have a common enemy." He steps closer, the dim light catching on the scar that runs down the side of his face. "Mark." The name hangs in the air between us, heavy and dangerous. I don't know who this man is or what his connection to Mark is, but I know one thing for sure. He's not here to help us out of the goodness of his heart. "What do you want?" Lisa asks, her voice trembling slightly. He turns his gaze to her, his eyes narrowing. "I want the same thing you do. I want Mark gone, but unlike you, I have the means to make that happen." He pauses, letting the weight of his words sink in. "But I need something from you first." "What could we possibly have that you'd want?" I ask, suspicion lacing my words. His smirk deepens. "Information. You've been closer to Mark than anyone else. You know things, even if you don't realize it yet. I need that information, and in return, I'll help you get out of this mess." It's a tempting offer. Too tempting. I glance at Lisa, trying to gauge her reaction, but her face is unreadable. She's as torn as I am, caught between the desire to escape and the fear of trusting this man. "What kind of information?" I ask cautiously. The man takes a step closer, his voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "I need to know who Mark's working with. His contacts, his suppliers, his buyers. The whole network. You give me that, and I'll take care of Mark." I shake my head, frustration boiling over. "We don't know any of that. Lisa was just a pawn." The man interrupts, his tone mocking. "I know, but even pawns have their uses. You've been in the same room as him, seen him at his weakest. Think. There has to be something." Lisa's face crumples with anxiety. "I don't know," she whispers, looking at me for reassurance. "I don't know what he wants. But I do, or at least, I think I do." A memory flashes in my mind. One of the many times I confronted Mark, that smirk on his face as he thought he had the upper hand. There was something he said, something about a meeting, a deal. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now it clicks into place. "He mentioned a shipment," I say slowly, the pieces coming together in my mind. "Something big, coming in soon. I don't know the details, but it sounded important." The man's eyes gleam with interest. "When? Where?" "I don't know," I admit, "but if it's that important, he'll be there." "You can find him then." He nods, satisfied. "That's a start. I'll dig around, see what I can find. But you two," he points at us, "you're coming with me. I can't risk you running off or messing this up. You stay close, and we'll finish this together." I don't like it, but I don't see another option. We're in too deep now, and this man, whoever he is, might be our only chance. I nod, and Lisa reluctantly does the same. The man gives a curt nod in return, then turns and heads deeper into the warehouse. "Come on," he calls over his shoulder. We've got work to do. We follow him, the darkness closing in around us like a shroud. I can feel the tension in Lisa's grip, the fear radiating off her in waves. I squeeze her hand, trying to offer some comfort, but it's cold, hollow. We're past the point of comfort now. All that's left is survival. The next few days blur together in a haze of planning and preparation. The man, who still hasn't given us his name, keeps us close, always watching, always calculating. He's ruthless, driven by a single-minded determination to bring Mark down. And as much as I hate to admit it, we need him. We stake out Mark's usual haunts, listening, watching, piecing together his routine. It's risky. Every time we get close, I feel the noose tightening around our necks. But the man is relentless, pushing us harder, deeper into the underworld that Mark controls. Finally, the day of the shipment arrives. The man leads us to a secluded spot near the docks, where Mark's operation is set to go down. The tension is suffocating, every nerve in my body on edge as we wait in the shadows. Lisa clings to me, her fear palpable. But there's something else there too, an undercurrent of resolve, a determination to see this through. Mark arrives flanked by his thugs, just as the man predicted. The air crackles with anticipation as they start unloading crates from a cargo ship. The whole operation slick and efficient. This is it, the moment we've been building toward. But as we prepare to make our move, something goes wrong. A shout rings out, followed by the deafening crack of gunfire. Chaos erupts as bullets fly, men shouting, running, scattering. The plan is falling apart, everything spiraling out of control. I grab Lisa and duck behind a stack of crates, my heart hammering in my chest. "Stay down," I yell, but she's already moving, her eyes locked on Mark. There's a fire in her now, a desperate need to end this once and for all. Before I can stop her, she breaks cover, running toward him. "Lisa, no!" I shout, but it's too late. She's already in the thick of it, a blur of motion as she charges at Mark. He sees her coming and grins, that sick, twisted smile that haunts my nightmares. He raises his gun, but she's faster, too fast for me to stop her. She tackles him, the gun skidding across the ground as they both go down in a tangle of limbs. I'm moving before I realize it, running toward them, my heart in my throat. The world narrows to this one moment, everything else fading away. Mark is on his back, struggling to push Lisa off, but she's relentless, her fists flying as she fights with everything she has. I reach them just as Mark throws her off, his hand reaching for the gun. But I'm faster. I kick it out of reach, then grab him, hauling him up by the collar. His eyes are wild, his face a mask of rage and fear. "You're done," I hiss, the words thick with hatred. He snarls, struggling in my grip, but he's weaker than he looks. I throw him to the ground, pinning him there, as the man, the one who brought us here, steps forward, his own gun trained on Mark. "This is for everything you've done," the man says coldly. And then, without hesitation, he pulls the trigger. In the days following the warehouse incident, my life becomes a whirlwind of chaos. The police are everywhere, asking questions, taking statements, piecing together the mess we left behind. Mark is dead, his reign of terror over, but the fallout is just beginning. The media catches wind of the story, and soon our faces are plastered across every news channel. The scandal is too juicy for them to resist. A love triangle, betrayal, murder. It's the kind of story that sells papers and keeps people glued to their screens. I can't go back to my old life. That much is clear. The job, the house, the quiet suburban life I once had, it's all gone. Even if I wanted to return, the media frenzy makes it impossible. I'm a marked man now, hounded by reporters, whispers of the affair and the violence that followed hanging over me like a cloud. Everywhere I go, people recognize me, their eyes filled with judgment, pity, or morbid curiosity. I feel like a prisoner in my own skin, trapped by the mistakes of the past. But it's not just the media that's the problem, it's the memories. The things I've seen, the things I've done, they haunt me, replaying in my mind on an endless loop. I can't sleep. Every time I close my eyes, I see Mark's face, twisted in rage and fear, right before the gun went off. I see Lisa, her face pale and drawn, as she realized just how far things had gone. I see the blood, the bodies, the wreckage of everything we once were. I try to pick up the pieces to rebuild, but it's like trying to put together a puzzle with missing pieces. Nothing fits anymore. The life I had, the man I was, it's all broken, shattered beyond repair. And Lisa, Lisa is gone. After the police arrested her, she was taken away, and I haven't seen her since. The charges against her are serious: complicity, obstruction of justice, involvement in criminal activities. She'll be in prison for a long time, maybe the rest of her life. Part of me wants to visit her, to see if there's anything left between us worth salvaging, but another part of me knows it's over. Even if she wasn't in prison, we could never go back to what we were. Too much has happened. Too much has been said and done. The trust, the love, it's all been eroded, worn away by lies and betrayal. We're strangers now, bound together only by the shared nightmare we lived through. So I leave. I pack up what little I have left and move to a new city, hoping for a fresh start. I find a small apartment in a quiet neighborhood, far from the places and people that remind me of the past. It's a lonely existence, but it's better than the alternative. I try to keep my head down, to avoid drawing attention, but the memories are always there, lurking in the back of my mind. Every now and then, I catch a glimpse of my reflection in a window or a mirror, and I'm startled by what I see. The man looking back at me is a stranger, hollow-eyed, haunted, a shadow of who I used to be. I don't recognize myself anymore. I don't know who I am without Lisa, without the life we built together. I'm not even sure I want to know. The days blur together in a haze of routine. Work, sleep, eat, repeat. I find a job at a small, nondescript office, doing menial tasks that require little thought or effort. It's mind-numbing, but that's what I want. I don't want to think, don't want to feel. I just want to get through each day without falling apart. But the memories won't leave me alone. They sneak up on me when I least expect it, in the middle of a meeting, while I'm lying in bed, or even when I'm just walking down the street. A flash of Mark's face, the sound of the gunshot, the feel of Lisa's hand in mine as we face the end together. It's like I'm trapped in a loop, reliving those moments over and over again. I start seeing a therapist, hoping it will help, but it's slow going. I can't seem to open up, to let go of the anger and guilt that's eating me alive. The therapist tells me it's normal, that it will take time, but I'm not sure I believe her. How do you move on from something like this? How do you rebuild a life that's been reduced to ashes? I think about Lisa a lot. I wonder where she is, what she's thinking, if she's as haunted by the past as I am. Part of me wants to reach out to her, to tell her I'm sorry, to ask if she's okay. But I know it's pointless. Even if I could contact her, what would I say? What could I possibly say that would make any of this better? Instead, I write her a letter. I don't send it. Just writing it is enough. I pour out all the things I've been holding inside, the anger, the hurt, the confusion. I tell her how much I loved her, how much I hated her for what she did. I tell her I'm sorry for not seeing the signs, for not being there when she needed me. I tell her I forgive her, even if I don't really believe it. When I'm done, I fold the letter and put it in a drawer. It's not much, but it's a start. A small step toward letting go, toward moving on. But moving on isn't easy. The shadows of the past are always there, lurking in the corners of my mind. I try to keep busy, to fill my days with work and meaningless tasks, but the emptiness is always there, a gaping hole that nothing can fill. I start going out more, trying to meet new people, to build a new life. It's hard, though. I'm not the same person I was before all this happened. I'm guarded, suspicious, always waiting for the other shoe to drop. I don't trust easily, and I don't let people get too close. It's safer that way, but it's also lonely. One night I find myself in a bar nursing a drink when a woman sits down next to me. She's pretty with dark hair and a warm smile, and there's something about her that draws me in. We start talking, and for the first time in a long time, I feel a spark of something. Hope, maybe, or the possibility of something more. But as the night goes on, I realize I'm not ready. I can't do this. Can't pretend to be someone I'm not. I leave the bar without saying goodbye, my heart heavy with the weight of what I've lost. I'm not ready to move on. Maybe I never will be. The days stretch into weeks, and the weeks into months. I settle into my new life, finding comfort in the routine, in the anonymity of my new city. But the shadows are always there, a constant reminder of what I've been through. I wonder if I'll ever truly be free from them. If I'll ever be able to look in the mirror and recognize the man staring back at me. Or if I'll always be haunted by the ghosts of the past, trapped in a loop of regret and sorrow. Only time will tell. But for now, I keep going, one day at a time, hoping that someday, somehow, I'll find a way to move forward. The phone call comes in the dead of night. I'm half asleep when the shrill ring jolts me awake, heart racing. It's an unfamiliar number, and I almost let it go to voicemail, but something in the back of my mind tells me to pick up. I answer, my voice thick with sleep. Hello? Is this David? The voice on the other end is rough, unfamiliar. My pulse quickens. No one calls me by my full name anymore. Not since everything happened. I sit up in bed, fully awake now. Who is this? There's a pause, then the man on the other end speaks again, slower this time. I'm someone you don't want to mess with, and I'm giving you one chance to do the right thing. You have something that belongs to me. I'm silent, trying to piece together who this could be, what he's talking about. But there's only one possibility. He's connected to Mark, to that whole nightmare I thought I'd left behind. My mouth goes dry. I don't know what you're talking about, I say, but my voice lacks conviction. The man chuckles, a cold, humorless sound. Don't play dumb, David. I know about the evidence. The files Mark kept hidden. You think the police got everything, but they didn't. He left something with your wife, didn't he? Something valuable. Lisa, the memory of her, of that final confrontation, floods back. The last time I saw her, she was being led away in handcuffs, her eyes full of a mix of regret and defiance. But now I'm not sure what to believe. What could she have hidden from me? What did Mark trust her with that's now coming back to haunt me? I don't have anything, I say, but the words feel hollow. I know he doesn't believe me. I don't care if you have it or not, the man snaps. What matters is that you get it. If you don't, I will find you, and I will make you regret it. You have 48 hours. The line goes dead before I can respond. I'm left sitting there, the phone pressed to my ear, my mind racing. What the hell did Lisa get us into? What evidence could she possibly have hidden that someone would still be after it now? I don't sleep for the rest of the night. Instead, I sit at the kitchen table, staring at nothing, trying to make sense of everything. When the first light of dawn starts to filter through the window, I know what I have to do. I have to find whatever it is this man is after, before he finds me. The next day, I start digging. I go through every corner of the apartment, searching for anything that might give me a clue. I check the usual hiding spots, under the bed, behind the furniture, inside the vents. But there's nothing. It's like searching for a ghost, something that might not even exist. But then I remember the letter. The one I wrote to Lisa but never sent. I go to the drawer where I kept it, pulling it out and unfolding the worn paper. As I read it over, something catches my eye, a line I barely remembered writing. You hid things from me, Lisa. You always did. Even in the end, you kept secrets. What were you protecting? What were you so afraid of me finding out? I read the words again, my heart pounding. If there's something hidden, something she didn't want me to find, where would she have put it? I think back to our old life, to the house we shared before everything fell apart. There were places there, little nooks and crannies that only she knew about. Without thinking, I grab my keys and head out the door. I haven't been back to the house since I moved out, but I don't have a choice. If there's anything left there, anything that could explain this mess, I need to find it. The drive feels surreal, like I'm moving through a dream. The house looks the same as it always did, a snapshot of the life we once had. But as I step inside, the memories hit me like a wave. This was our home, our safe haven, and now it's just a shell, empty and cold. I search the house methodically, trying to keep the emotions at bay. I go through the bedroom, the bathroom, the closets, But it's not until I get to the basement that I find something. There, tucked away in a dusty corner behind some old boxes, is a small metal lockbox. My heart skips a beat as I pull it out, my hands trembling. It's locked, of course. I scramble through the boxes, looking for anything that might open it, and finally find an old screwdriver. It takes some effort, but I manage to pry the box open. Inside is a small stack of papers, a USB drive, and a folded piece of paper with my name on it. I unfold the paper first, recognizing Lisa's handwriting instantly. David, if you're reading this, then things have gone horribly wrong. I'm sorry. I wanted to protect you from all of this, but I see now that it was a mistake to keep you in the dark. Mark was involved in something much bigger than either of us realized. These files, they're dangerous. They're the reason he's dead, and if you have them, you're in danger too. Please get rid of them. Burn them, destroy them, do whatever you have to do. Just don't let them fall into the wrong hands. I'm sorry for everything. I wish I could have been stronger. I wish I could have protected you the way you deserved. Please forgive me. Love, Lisa. I sit there, the letter in my hands, feeling like the ground has been pulled out from under me. She knew. She knew this would happen, and she tried to protect me. But it's too late for that now. I turn my attention to the papers and the USB drive. The papers are full of names, dates, and transactions, evidence of Mark's criminal activities. The USB drive likely contains even more incriminating information. This is what they're after. This is what Lisa was hiding. I know what I have to do. I can't keep this. It's too dangerous. But I also can't just destroy it, not without making sure it's safe. I need to find a way to end this, once and for all. I head to a nearby park, far enough from my apartment that I won't be followed. I sit on a bench, the USB drive in my pocket, and pull out my phone. I make a call to the only person I can think of who might be able to help. Detective Carter, the officer who handled Mark's case. Carter, I say when he answers, I have something you need to see. We meet an hour later in a quiet coffee shop. I hand him the USB drive, along with a copy of the letter from Lisa. He reads it over, his expression grim. This is serious, David, he says, his voice low. If what you're saying is true, this could blow the whole case wide open. I know, I reply, but I don't want any part of it. I just want this to be over. Carter nods, slipping the USB drive into his pocket. You did the right thing. We'll take it from here. I leave the coffee shop feeling a strange mix of relief and fear. I've done what I needed to do, but I can't shake the feeling that this isn't the end. That there's still something out there, lurking in the shadows, waiting to strike. The next few days are tense but quiet. I don't hear from Carter, and I don't receive any more threats. I start to think that maybe, just maybe, this really is over. But then one night, I come home to find my apartment door slightly ajar. My heart races as I step inside, my senses on high alert. The apartment is dark, but I can feel that something is wrong. I reach for the light switch, but before I can flip it on, I hear a voice behind me. Hello, David. I freeze. The voice is cold, familiar. It's the man from the phone call. You thought you could just hand it all over and walk away? He continues, his tone mocking. It's not that easy. I slowly turn to face him, my mind racing. He's standing in the shadows, a gun in his hand, a cruel smile on his lips. This is the end of the line for you, he says, raising the gun. But don't worry, you won't be alone for long. I don't think. I just move, lunging at him, grabbing for the gun. We struggle, the world narrowing to this one moment, this one fight for survival. I hear the gun go off, the sound deafening, but I don't stop. I keep fighting, desperate, until finally I wrestle the gun from his hands and throw it across the room. He stares at me, shock and anger in his eyes. But before he can react, I punch him, hard. He goes down, hitting the floor with a thud. I stand over him, breathing hard, my body trembling with adrenaline. This is it, the end. But at what cost? I pick up the phone and call the police, my hands still shaking. When they arrive, they find me sitting on the floor, staring at the man I just fought. They take him away, and I know that this time, it really is over. But as I sit there, alone in my apartment, I realize that I'm not the same man I was before. The darkness, the violence, it's changed me. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to go back to the way things were. The scars, both physical and emotional, will stay with me. But I'm still here. I survived. And that has to count for something. As the dawn breaks, I make a decision. I can't keep living like this, haunted by the past. It's time to move on, to find a new path. I don't know what the future holds, but I'm ready to face it, whatever it may be. And as I drive away from the city, leaving the memories behind, I feel a strange sense of peace. The darkness may not be entirely gone, but for the first time in a long time, I can see a glimmer of light on the horizon. As I drive away from the city, the events of the past months play in my mind like a fragmented movie reel. Scenes of love, betrayal, violence, and survival. The road stretches out before me, a promise of something new, something better, but I can't help looking in the rearview mirror, half expecting the ghosts of my past to follow me. I think about everything that's happened, how my life unraveled in ways I never imagined, how I was forced to confront the darkest parts of myself. I'm not the man I was before all this began. The naive, complacent husband who thought he had it all figured out is gone, replaced by someone harder, more cynical, and yet somehow more aware of what really matters. The sun is setting, casting long shadows across the road, and I feel a strange sense of finality. The danger is over, but the scars remain. I wonder if I'll ever truly heal, or if the memories will always be there, lurking just beneath the surface, ready to pull me back into the darkness. I've had time to think about everything, about Lisa, about the choices we both made, and about how it all went so wrong. I loved her once, more than anything, but that love was built on a foundation of lies and secrets. When those were exposed, our world collapsed. I don't blame her for everything. I know I played my part in our downfall. I wasn't the husband she needed, and when she looked elsewhere, I wasn't strong enough to pull us back from the edge. But that's all in the past now. Lisa is gone, locked away, and I'm left to pick up the pieces. The trial was brutal. Every detail of our lives laid bare for the world to see. The prosecution painted her as a manipulative accomplice, while the defense tried to portray her as a victim of circumstance, caught in Mark's web. In the end, the jury saw her as both, a woman who made terrible choices, driven by fear and desperation. I testified, recounting everything I knew, everything I had seen. It was one of the hardest things I've ever done, standing there, telling the truth about the woman I once loved. But it was necessary for both of us. The truth had to come out, no matter the cost. Lisa was sentenced to 15 years. The judge showed some leniency, acknowledging the control Mark had over her. But it was still a heavy sentence. As they led her away, she looked back at me, her eyes filled with a mixture of regret and relief. It was the last time I saw her. Now, as I leave the city behind, I try to focus on the future. I don't know where I'm going, but that's part of the appeal. I need a fresh start, somewhere no one knows me or my past. I've been living in the shadows for too long, and it's time to step into the light to see if there's still a chance for me to find some kind of peace. The road ahead is uncertain, but I'm ready to face it. I know I'll never be the same, but maybe that's not a bad thing. I've learned more about myself in these past few months than I did in the years before. I've learned that I'm stronger than I thought, that I can survive things I never imagined. I've learned that love, when twisted and corrupted, can become something dangerous, something deadly. But I've also learned that there's a way out of the darkness if you're willing to fight for it. I pull over at a rest stop, the evening air cool against my skin. I step out of the car and take a deep breath, feeling the weight of everything start to lift, just a little. There's still a long road ahead of me, but for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm heading in the right direction. As I stand there watching the sun dip below the horizon, I allow myself to think about the future. Maybe I'll find a quiet town, settle down, start over. Maybe I'll travel, see the world, find out who I am without all the baggage. Or maybe I'll just keep driving, keep moving forward until I figure it out. I know I'll carry the scars of this ordeal forever. They're a part of me now, woven into the fabric of who I am. But scars don't have to define you. They can be reminders of what you've survived, of the battles you fought and won. They can be proof that you're still standing, still moving forward. As I get back in the car, I take one last look in the rearview mirror. The city is far behind me now, just a distant memory, a place where I lost everything and found myself in the process. I turn my eyes back to the road, and this time, I don't look back. The engine hums as I drive into the night, the road stretching out before me, full of possibilities. I don't know where I'm going, but for the first time in a long time, I'm okay with that. The past is behind me, and the future is unwritten. Whatever happens next, I'm ready. I drive on, leaving the darkness behind, chasing the light of a new day.